Hello guys, welcome back to the channel today. My name is Osereme, and if you're here for the first time today, thank you so much for stopping by. Hit on that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell if you are interested in everything sewing and pattern drafting tutorials. Here on this channel, that's all I share about, and I've noticed that in all of my corset tutorial videos that I've posted on here, we've been making use of ready-made bra cups. So today I want to share with you guys how to make your very own corset pattern. That's how to draft your very own corset pattern from scratch. So if you're interested in that, keep on watching and let's go into the video. So to start out this tutorial, I'm making use of this pattern paper right here, and what I'm going to be doing right now is drafting what looks like a basic bodice pattern. And where my tape started from here is going to be like the shoulder. So I marked from my shoulder down to my bust point, which is 10 inches, and I'm marking it right here. And from my shoulder down to my under bust is 13 inches, and from shoulder to my waist is 17 inches. So after marking these lines, I'm just going to go ahead to extend the lines to the end of this pattern paper with my ruler. So guys, this pattern paper is actually in a fold, so this is the front pattern that we're going to be creating right now. So after cutting this out, I went ahead to divide my shoulder measurement by 2, and that gave me 7.5, and I marked it up here. And after that, I came down by about 1 inch here, which is going to be my shoulder slope, and I'm just going to use my ruler to make a slant here. So guys, now after getting my shoulder slope, I just went down to get my armhole depth, and that was 7.5 inches, and I marked it, and I'm just going to use my ruler to extend the line from the shoulder slant down to the shoulder slope. And after that, I'm just going to make a line across like this. This new line is going to be my chest line, so I'm just going to call this my chest line. So after the chest line, we have the bust line here, the under bust line here, and we have the waistline. After getting those lines, guys, I'm just going to use my curve ruler to just make a slant here. This part that I'm doing is not really necessary because we're not going to make use of this part. It's just like a guide for the other part of this tutorial. So I just made my armhole curve now. So guys, after making my armhole curve, I divided my nipple to nipple measurement by 2, and that is 3.5, and I'm marking it on all of the lines that I had. I'm marking it on my chest line, my bust line, my under bust line, and also on my waistline. After making the marks, you're just going to join all the lines together in the straight line like this using your ruler. So guys, after marking your nipple to nipple measurement on all the lines like this, what you're going to do is to place your tape on the bust line, the point that made by this line that you made, and you're going to go around with the measurement you have from your bust line down to your under bust line. And for this, I had 3 inches, so I'm just going to mark 3 inches around in a circle. So after marking that circle, the next thing you're going to do is to come down to this waistline here, and normally you will mark about 1 inch on both sides, but I decided to use 0.7 sorry, because my bust is actually very small. So if I use 1 inch, it's usually kind of big for my bust. So I'm going to mark that 0.7 inches on both the under bust line and on the waistline. And as you see me doing like this, you're going to join the lines together this way. So now that you have gotten the lines, I would it's not necessary for you to use 0.5 because I'm using 0.5 here. It is generally people use 1 inch for this. So after that, you're just going to make a curve with your curve ruler from the under bust line down to the line along the bust line. For these guys, if you don't have a curved ruler, you can definitely do this with your free hand. So after doing this, I'm just going to extend this line here down to the upper part, to the point of the circle, and just the same thing we did under here, we're going to do it up here again. I'm just going to take that 0.7 inch here and here again, and I'm just going to connect it again to the nipple to nipple measurements using my curved ruler. So when you're done, this is what it will look like. The next thing you're going to do now is on this chest line here, this particular one, you're going to get how much cleavage you want to show. So I'm going to make use of this chest line, and you can decide to go up or down from this particular line, but I'm going to make use of this line here. So I'm marking 0.7 inches here. You can mark as wide as 1 inch. That's going to be the difference between the two cups. So I marked 0.7 inches here, so that by the time I'm done sewing everything, to be exactly 1 inch difference there. So after marking this, what you're going to do is to make a curve from this new point you have there to meet your under bust line. So now don't worry about the dotted lines. This is the new line that we're going to follow. Now you're going to make a curve also from this chest line to meet the upper point of the circle. So this new thick line is what we are going to be using now. Now you see that on this part of the dotted line, some part is left, so that the bra cup is not too small. We're going to extend our line by about ½ an inch, and we're going to make a curve to meet this new line. So now from this point, we're just going to extend the line to the chest line, Now from the chest line, just like we did in the other part, we're going to make a curve to meet it at the top. So now guys, after doing this, the cup is ready. What you have to do now is to start adding all of your measurements. So on the bust line, I'm going to take my bust measurement divided by 4, and I'm going to mark it here. Then on the under bust line, my under bust measurement divided by 4, and I'm going to mark it. And also on the waistline, I'll mark my waist measurement divided by 4. I know that this part is the part that is really very confusing for a lot of people, but it takes time and you just need to pay attention to what I'm doing. So after that, now on this chest line, I'm going to still make use of my bust measurement. I marked it here, and I'm just going to add this little allowance here, and I'm just going to put it back here. Now on the under bust line, I have 1.5 inch allowance. I'm going to put it back. On this waistline, I'm going to put back also the 1.5 inch that we've taken away. Now this is exactly my measurement. What I'm going to do now is to add an extra 1.5 inch to all the measurements I have here. This extra 1.5 inch is going to be my stitching allowance. So now I'm just going to join all the lines together. After joining all the lines together, the corset is basically ready. So this is how it looks. The next thing I'm just going to do, one thing I like to do here, from the end of my cup, I like to make a little bit of curve to kind of give it like an armhole instead of just being straight. So now that we are done, what we are going to do now is to just cut along the end. So after cutting the first line, I realized that I wanted to explain something. So I just marked my actual measurements back using my ruler. So this line I'm making is my actual measurements. You see that this SS here is just the stitching allowance, which I can decide to cut away, but I'm just going to leave it. That means that when I'm cutting this on the actual fabric, I'm not going to add any other stitching allowance to the side. To draft the back pattern, what I'm basically going to do is to place another plain piece of pattern paper, and I'm just going to place my front pattern right on it, as you see me doing like this, and I'm going to leave some excess on this side that is going to serve as the zipper allowance at the back. That's if you want to add the zipper to the back. And what I'm going to do is to just hold it firm and cut along this side. after cutting it, I just raised my front pattern a little bit and made all the dart marks where they are supposed to be, so I know exactly where to place them at the back. And after that, I'm just going to mark my neck. I decided not to take it exactly from where the front neck started. I went down a little bit, and I also marked out the armhole. So after that, I'm just going to make my curve to make the new line I want to use as my neck. So after getting the neck, I'm just going to extend the center part of these lines I made as a straight line, and I'm going to curve the other two on the sides to give me my dart for the back. So guys, after marking your dart line, this is optional, but I'm just going to place my front pattern back right on it, and I'm just going to put my ruler right on where the zipper allowance started, so that I know exactly where to notch when I place this on the actual fabric. And I just marked a line here. So now I'm just going to cut along the thick lines. So this is the back pattern, and this right here is the zipper allowance, which you can remove. So this back pattern now does not need me to add any extra stitching allowance, because I've already added all the stitching allowance that needs to be added. So now we're just going to cut out the front pattern. We can freely cut it out now because we've used it to cut out the back, and we're just going to cut it out along the thick lines. So this is what I have. You know, there are different patterns of corsets. So this one we did right here is the one that is separated in the middle. So when I'm cutting this out on my actual fabric, I'm actually going to add some extra allowances to the cup and the center back part of it, which this 1 and 2 here, I'm going to add extra allowances to it, but for this side I'm not going to add any form of allowance. So this is basically all for the front and the back pattern. Thank you so much guys for watching the video today, and I hope that you found the pattern drafting tutorial helpful. Definitely keep on watching this channel and turn on the notification bell, and if you're not subscribed, please subscribe, because in my next video I'm going to be making use of this pattern that we just drafted today to make a corset top for myself, and I will be sharing all of that with you guys. So if you're interested in it, definitely keep on watching, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.